Now, we're going to take a look at relationship management. So let's start that off by talking about, well, what is relationship management? No surprise, it's very much like looking for the definition of sales. There are a lot of definitions for relationship management. Again, my favorite place, let's go to Google, and really there are 173 million different results that come up when you just put in the term relationship management. First thing that tells you is there's a lot of information about it. Secondly, there must be a lot of opinions about it. And thirdly, that means it's going to be a little confusing for anyone who is not completely familiar with it to come to an understanding of what relationship management is. So I try to make it a little bit easier. Even though this is for Investopedia, the truth is it's a pretty good definition for relationship management. So we're going to use this as our foundation for talking going forward. So let me read this to you. Investopedia explains relationship management, okay? So relationship management aims to create a partnership between the organization and its audience rather than consider the relationship merely transactional. Let's pause there for a second. So again, let's think about the way we laid out what sales is and how you might fit into sales and how the largest sector of sales activity, largest sector of maybe jobs even, is in the transactional space. Inherent in that is that relationship management is elevating you beyond and above the transactional element of sales. So in other words, what an organization's interested in is not just doing one transaction with a customer. Now the reason they're interested in more than that is that there's a cost of acquiring a customer, and it is cheaper to keep the customer than it is to acquire a second customer. So yes, if they've acquired you as a customer, they've been able to sell you something, the best thing they can do is figure out how to create a relationship with you so that going forward you continue to do business. That should help you understand how important relationship management is when it comes to sales, when it comes to organizations, when it comes to business growth, and that is on every level, whether you're transacting in a simple transaction with customers or whether you're doing highly engaged enterprise level sales. So let's finish this definition. Consumers who feel that a business responds to their needs are more likely to continue using the products and services that the business offers. So in a nutshell, if you understand how to take care of the customer's needs and you create a process around that so that you can manage that effort, you're giving the business the best opportunity to retain customers, to keep those customers they already have, make them happy, and happy customers tend to do more business and open more doors to doing more business. Last part of that, additionally, maintaining a level of communication with consumers allows the business to identify potential sources of costly problems before they come to a head. So in short, if you have an open relationship with your customers, you're able then to hear from them, individually initially about challenges, but certainly from a process standpoint and a global standpoint, you begin to hear from them in a way that shows you trends, and some of those trends will be about problems and challenges that you can then head off before they become major. So the most interesting one of these, or one that everyone's familiar with, is an auto manufacturer makes a particular car. The car has been sold hundreds of thousands of times, and now they learn through customer calls that there is a failing in the brake system or an irregularity in the way the car locks or some particular thing. That leads them to a point of being able to investigate that, do a proactive recall, and fix the problem, as opposed to allowing the problem to be exacerbated, get much worse, and create real challenges for the business that cost them both customers and also cost them in other ways. So that's what relationship management is about. Hopefully that's something that kind of makes a little more sense to you from that standpoint. Now, I'm going to give you a certain other way of looking at it. Relationship management is also a practice of aiming to create a partnership between the organization and its audience rather than make it transactional. I'm pulling that out because I want you to, again, think about it from the standpoint of how do you get additional value? And again, from your own personal level, if you're a salesperson, how do you get additional value out of a customer? Well, the way you do it is you continue the good feeling that they have, which came from the transaction. Now, let's think about this. If you're selling something on the upper end or something that's more than simply transactional, then even after the proof of concept, the reality is the product has to perform. If for any reason it doesn't perform ideally, then the customer is going to reach out to resolve that. That, at that point, becomes where relationship management is crucial, because now you have not a challenge, but an opportunity to reinforce the sales process, maybe to identify some gaps that the customer might even have in terms of how they understood what they need to do on their end, how they are to implement. There are a whole host of things that you can identify through engaging, but that engagement comes with, again, understanding that it's really about relationship management and not anything else. It's a focus on delivering based on their needs and that continued connection. It makes the customers more likely to buy what your business offers on a continual basis, and it also helps you even identify new products. So if you're selling a particular solution and customers keep coming back to let you know that they wish it did more, or you notice that in addition to what they get from you, they are naturally going to another source for an additional piece, because logically it makes sense that those two functionalities be combined. Understanding that they're doing that could actually lead to new products. And the easiest, most profitable product for a business is when they have done what they need to do to sell the initial product, but find a very natural additional product that they can sell without having nearly as much of the investment in time. So again, these are reasons why relationship management is important. It's a critical element to business today. Now, let's go a little further. It's really a crucial piece of the business. So say it with me. Relationship management is crucial. Let's look at why that is. So now, let's talk about why it's crucial. You know, so far you've heard me say things about Amazon, about Yelp, about all these places where people get to voice their opinions. That's the new business reality. If you go back 25 years, 30 years ago, that was not the case. You could sell a bad product, you can also have bad service, and it was really difficult for you to, as a consumer, understand that that happened. I may be dating myself here, but most people probably don't recall that there used to be something, and still is actually, called the Better Business Bureau. One of their big functions was to ingest all of this complaint data from individuals about businesses and then put that information back out into the public forum. But it wasn't done in any kind of easily digestible fashion. It wasn't easy to access, you know, and so it really probably didn't matter all that much. Today, we're in a different world. The world we're in today, someone doesn't like what happened in a business engagement of theirs or a consumer engagement of theirs, bang, they talk about it. So that's why it's crucial. If you look at that, here's some stats, some recent stats. Only 37% of brands received a good or excellent customer experience score in 2012. Only 37%. 64% of brands got an okay to poor to very poor rating. And again, let's understand, today that is in the public forum. That's not at the BBB in some place where, you know, you got to go dig for it and hunt for it. No, that's on Amazon. That's on Yelp. That's on, I forgot her name now. Craigslist is not what I'm talking about. There's another one out there where you can look on there and actually evaluate professionals before you hire a plumber, that kind of thing. There's a lot of places out there where you can get this kind of information. You got to be very, very, very careful how you're dealing with it. So this is why relationship management is key. 89% of consumers switch to a competitor after a negative experience. Now think about that really carefully. What it means is that Whether it's walking into a bank and not being treated properly, or trying to get a transaction done at a supermarket or a store, or trying to buy a car, or even for that matter, talking to your power company. All of them are places where when people have a negative experience, if they're empowered to, meaning there's an option B, 89% of them go that way after being motivated by negative experience. That is why relationship management is so important. It really is the critical link. It's the link that holds everything together after the sale. It's the lifeblood of a business. So you got to understand that, and when you do, you're able to move forward.